In the month of December 1971, a war broke out between Pakistan and India, again. So ladies and gentlemen, we take you to the most daring, audacious, deadly, and the bloodiest attack in the history of naval warfare. The Operation Trident. In 1971, the port of Karachi housed the headquarters of the Pakistan Navy, and almost its entire fleet was based in Karachi harbour. Since Karachi was also the hub of Pakistan's maritime trade, a blockade would be disastrous for Pakistan's economy. The security of Karachi harbour was predominant to the Pakistani High Command, and it was heavily defended against any air or naval strikes. The port's airspace was secured by the strike aircraft based at airfields in the area. Towards the end of 1971, there were rising tensions between India and Pakistan, and after Pakistan declared a national emergency on November 23, the Indian Navy deployed 3 Viadiyat-class missile boats in the vicinity of Oka, near Karachi, to carry out patrols. As the Pakistani fleet would also be operating in the same waters, the Indian Navy set a demarcation line which ships in their fleet would not cross. Later this deployment proved to be useful for gaining experience in the region's waters. On December 3, after Pakistan attacked Indian airfields along the border, the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971 officially began. The Indian Naval Headquarters in Delhi, along with the Western Naval Command, planned to attack the port of Karachi, and for this purpose, a strike group, under Western Naval Command, was formed. This strike group was to be based around the 3 Viadiyat-class missile boats already deployed off the coast of Oka. However, these boats had limited operational and radar range, and to overcome this difficulty, it was decided to assign support vessels to the group. On December 4, what was now designated as the Karachi Strike Group was formed and consisted of the 3 Viadiyat-class missile boats, Ins-Nipat, Ins-Nirgat, and Ins-Veer, each armed with 4 Soviet-made SSN-2B Styx surface-to-surface missiles with a range of 40 nautical miles, 2 Arnala-class anti-submarine corvettes, Ins-Kiltan and Ins-Katc Hall, and a fleet tanker, Ins-Pashak. The group was under the command of Commander Babru Bunyadov, the commanding officer of the 25th Missile Boat Squadron. Also, as the crew was back from USSR after the commissioning of boats, they were fluent in Russian, and hence all communication between the attacking vessels was in Russian, so even if the signal is intercepted, no information would be given away. As planned, on December 4, the strike group reached 250 nautical miles south off the coast of Karachi, and maintained its position during the day, outside the surveillance range of the Pakistan Air Force. As Pakistani aircraft did not possess night bombing capabilities, it was planned that the attack would take place between dusk and dawn. At 10:30 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time, the Indian task group moved 180 nautical miles from its position towards the south of Karachi. Soon Pakistani targets, identified as warships, were detected 70 nautical miles to the northwest and northeast of the Indian warships. Ins-Nirgat drove forward in a northwesterly direction and fired its first Styx missile at Ins Khybar, a Pakistani battle-class destroyer. Khybar, assuming it was a missile from Indian aircraft, engaged its anti-aircraft systems. The missile hit the right side of the ship, exploding below the galley in the electrician's mess deck at 10:45 p.m. This led to an explosion in the first boiler room. Subsequently the ship lost propulsion, and was flooded with smoke. An emergency signal that read, "Enemy aircraft attacked in position 020 FF20. Number 1 boiler hit. Ship stopped," was sent to Pakistan Naval Headquarters. Due to the chaos created by the explosion, the signal contained the wrong coordinates of the ship's position. This delayed rescue teams from reaching its location. Observing that the ship was still afloat, Nirgat fired its second missile, hitting Khybar in the second boiler room on the ship's starboard side, eventually sinking the ship and killing 222 sailors. After verifying 2 targets in the area northwest of Karachi, at 11:00 p.m., Indo Pak fired 2 Styx missiles, one each at cargo vessel MV Venus Challenger and its escort PN's Shah Jahan, a C-class destroyer. Venus Challenger, carrying ammunition for the Pakistani forces, exploded immediately after the missile hit, and eventually sank 23 nautical miles south of Karachi. The other missile targeted Shah Jahan and damaged the ship very badly. At 11:20 p.m., PN's Muhafiz, an adjutant-class minesweeper, was targeted by Inzvir. A missile was fired and Muhafiz was struck on the left side, abaft the bridge. It sank immediately before it could send a signal to the PNHQ, killing 33 sailors. Meanwhile, Indo Pak continued towards Karachi and targeted the Kamari oil storage tanks, placing itself 14 nautical miles south of the Karachi harbour. Of the 2 missiles launched, one misfired and the other hit the oil tanks. The tanks burned and were destroyed completely, causing a shortage of fuel for the Pakistan Navy. The task force returned to the nearest Indian ports. Soon the PNHQ deployed rescue teams on patrol vessels to recover the survivors of Khyber. As Muhafiz sank before it could transmit, the Pakistanis knew the fate of ship from its few survivors, who were recovered when the patrol vessel steered towards the ship's burning flotsam. The Pakistan Air Force retaliated for these attacks by bombing Oka Harbour, scoring direct hits on fueling facilities for missile boats, an ammunition dump, and the missile boat's jetty. The Indian Navy anticipated this attack and had already moved the missile boats to other locations to prevent any losses. However, the destruction of a special fuel tank prevented any further incursions until Operation Python, executed 3 days later. As a result of the operation, all of the Pakistan armed forces were put on high alert. The deployments raised a number of false alarms in the ensuing days about the presence of Indian Navy vessels off Karachi. One such false alarm was raised by a Pakistan Navy Fokker Friendship reconnaissance aircraft on December 6, 1971, which incorrectly reported a frigate of the Pakistan Navy as an Indian Navy missile boat. The PNHQ requested a Pakistan Air Force airstrike on the supposed Indian ship. At 06:45 am, fighter jets were scrambled and strafed the vessel before it was identified as the frigate PN's Zulfikar. This friendly fire incident resulted in casualties and damage to the vessel. With no casualties on the Indian side, this operation was considered to be one of the most successful in modern naval history post-World War II. To mark this victory, the Indian Navy annually celebrates Navy Day on December 4. More importantly, it proved to be an important turning point of the 1971 war, which would eventually lead to the liberation of Bangladesh. Such was Operation Trident's unprecedented success that it made the world sit up and take note of the Indian Navy. The daring mission was part of the first item on U.S. President Richard Nixon's morning brief by the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, the next day.